So
Oh, there
yeah,
you are.
I finally caved and set up AdSense for my YouTube channel, so,
Oh, nice.
so people will be getting ad breaks at some point.
Hmm.
But I have to follow guidelines, otherwise they put less ads or something. So like I can't curse. I mean I can curse, but there's like certain community guidelines because they have AI like monitoring.
I
So
can uh I can refrain from cursing, I think. But if you catch me, let me know. Maybe I can stick a curse jar in front of me every time I gotta donate a quarter.
nice. A quarter. Forget inflation. It's gonna be $1 now, or $5.
Dollars. Dollars. That's cool. AdSense. Yeah. That's nice. You get 20,000 people. That's awesome. What do you think caused that?
What caused it? So there's a couple of things. One is the time of the day. I think it was after school.
Hmm.
What's up, M? My brother and James. So after school, also the fact that it was the gym. I think like most streams is like somebody just sitting there reading the chat,
Right.
talking to the camera. So I think the algorithm might put like action type stuff higher.
Oh, okay. So if you're actually doing something as opposed to just sitting in front of the camera doing nothing.
Just guessing maybe. And then wait, say something again. I forgot to do your mic check.
Testing one, two, three.
Okay, you're good.
Testing one, two, three.
Yep, no good. And then the other thing is, every time I'm streaming on vertical, I get more subscribers. So like I'm over
Mm,
5,700 now,
right. Nice.
and recently, I think I told you like earlier, or actually last year, this guy stuttering John from Howard Stern show.
Yeah, I remember.
He kind of put me on,
Mhm.
or was it his producer actually?
So you think some
So
residuals from that?
well, I just got a lot more view subscribers,
Yeah.
and then the more subscribers you have, the higher you go in the algorithm.
Hmm.
So it's just like a self fulfilling loop.
Yeah.
But then also, getting like these, um, what do you call it? So for example, because I got over a certain threshold of subscribers, I get this because YouTube's like a business, so they want ads, you know. So like
Right.
the fact that I turned on the ads, now I'm getting these emails from Google, like
Hmm.
legit Google. It says at google.com in the address. So this email says, my name is Leo Garcia, and I'm a partner manager at YouTube. We love the content you've been creating, and we feel you'd be a great fit for our new channel memberships bootcamp program on YouTube. So it's like they want to help my channel get successful because ultimately that ad ends up more money for them through ads,
Hmm. Hmm.
apparently. So there's a bit of back end work I gotta do, figure out how to what's gonna be the best streams. This person who sends me news articles, which I read in the morning at like 4 a.m. for 5 a.m. All to do with health, and they've been for probably 10 years sending me these things to try to help me to get a kind of a news channel going.
Hmm.
And they said, so you're getting the most views for quote not eating, quote treatment, and quote workout. So the videos with those words in the title getting the most views.
Hmm.
So, you know, you gotta figure out, I guess, fasting, natural healing, health food, working out. It's interesting, apparently.
Well, it's I mean, if you're gonna look at this like a job, then the work that comes from it is very much like a full-time job in that it's something you'll have to do all the time. Also, a lot of planning. I mean, at least the streamers and the content creators I see on YouTube are like they're very much planning what they're doing. It's like, all right, I'm doing this at this time, I'm doing this at this time. I take this video, I cut this up, I make this a short,
Mm.
I make this a I make this into like a maybe a longer video,
Hmm.
something like that. And they're doing it on a regular basis. It doesn't have to be every day. I mean, most of the content creators I watch, they'll put up something maybe once a week, you know.
Mm.
But it's the production values are a little higher, you know, because
Yeah,
they're spending time editing. So, and then
facts.
they intersperse that with say shorts, which they take from that video, like little snippets and stuff,
Mm.
and then they'll throw that into shorts. So it's content throughout the week, and then like a longer video content throughout the week, and maybe there's a live stream, and then the live stream is maybe where you're taking some of. There's a guy I watch who does this. He live streams himself playing retro games, you know, and then he'll put out like a video a month, which is like a deep dive into a specific genre of retro games. But
Mm.
all the footage he has came from his live streams.
Mm.
So he's live streaming so he can generate footage he can then use in his videos.
And he's live streaming on YouTube?
He's live streaming on Twitch,
Okay.
but you know, again, taking the footage and using that because most of the videos are just showing game footage and then he's got a voiceover. He doesn't really show himself. He
Okay.
doesn't show his face in the videos. It's just his voiceover. And but you know, with the live streams, he'll show himself.
Okay. Yeah. There's a couple of this Twitch, Kick, and Party is a new one as far as
Hmm.
streaming platforms. I don't know if I have the bandwidth though, because like there's no. I wish there was something where you could stream to to a source and then that source up streams, so it's like you only need one bandwidth, but
Yeah, yeah. You want to
it's
multi-stream. That's what you want to do. You could. It's
but
just YouTube and Twitch have their like they're kind of segregated. Like I watch a guy he streams from to Twitch and then also simultaneously streams to TikTok.
right. I seen that.
I don't think you could do that with YouTube because YouTube you have to be on one or the other. I
Really?
think.
Hmm.
I think there's something preventing you from streaming either from YouTube to Twitch or from Twitch to YouTube.
Hmm.
Also, you have different chats going, so that's hard to keep.
Well, there's like Restream and there's I want to say StreamYards, but it's not StreamYards.
Hmm.
Uh, and they have, if you go through, I'll just use Restream for example. I stream to Restream, and then all the chats are listed under the same thing,
Hmm.
chat
Hmm.
box.
Right.
But what I was saying was, it doesn't. Uh, I think no, maybe it does. I thought maybe it has to send out the bandwidth to each source, but maybe it has they're doing the sending it out, and that's why you have to pay
Hmm.
because you're using their bandwidth.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know,
What
you have
was
to
the
pay
other
for
one?
bandwidth. My company works the same way. You know, you have to pay for bandwidth, whatever you use. So,
What do famous streamers use for multi-streaming? Restream. Okay, that's the one that I used because it has a free version. Streamlabs. That's what it was. 149 a year. That's not bad. OBS with custom RTMP. Melon. That's made by Streamlabs. One Streamlive. Alright, I'll do a little research. Um, M says, "What is planned for this stream, sir?" Oh God, don't call me a sir, bro.
You get
Just
used to it.
oh God,
No, you're an old man now. You're a
when the
sir.
when the young high school girls at the grocery store call me sir, I'm just like,
Hmm.
oh no,
Oh boy.
can't even be friendly. I'm that guy. I remember seeing like old guys like being friendly and making jokes with the girls, and I'm just like, now I'm him.
Right. Right. Yep. You're that dude. It's all right. Hey, there's nothing wrong with flirting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not high school girls, but women. Even when you're an
Well,
old man.
I
You,
caught I caught the he's not the owner, but he's the manager. I think the Cross Island Fruits, the Italian market down the block from over here.
hmm
Um, I think they're owned, by the mafia or ex-mafia
hmm
because this guy who runs the produce section, he was telling me how he had a business delivering the supplies to all the famous Italian restaurants in New York City.
Oh wow.
And then he left that job to go work for the owner of Cross Island Fruits. So I'm like, first of all, you're not delivering the ingredients to Italian restaurants in New York City unless you're in,
hmm
you know. And then to quit that to go work for this guy, I'm like, anyway, his daughter is one of the cashiers, and she's like a dancer, like a ballet style.
Oh, okay.
Like she goes to college for dancing.
Right.
And I caught her, I caught her eye a couple of times. I'm like, I don't want to end up sleeping with the fishes
Yeah.
because she's in her
You know.
early 20s at the most.
Yeah. Plus you shop there. And you like shopping there.
I would trade the shopping, but I wouldn't trade. I wouldn't trade it for concrete shoes or whatever.
Right. No, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, what is planned for this stream?
Um,
What indeed? We can just chat about stuff. How are you doing?
yeah.
I mean, obviously it's been a week since I talked to you.
hmm
What's going on in your life?
Well, today is going to be kind of a coasting day. I think tomorrow is going to be tough because I went to bed from like 3 to like 6 last night.
So
I,
you only
s-
got like 3 hours
I
sleep.
slept at mom and dad's house, so
Okay.
definitely fragile. In my like my mental state.
You're
Tom,
tired. You didn't get sleep.
for me, it manifests as like ruminations, just thinking about the same things and feeling
It's
emotional
probably
about it.
it's probably increasing your anxiety. I mean, that's one of the things that lack of sleep definitely does.
But I don't always want to just talk about me and my problems. But what do you want to talk about?
No, I mean, you and I are here
hmm
to facilitate a conversation about your life and some of the issues that you've been experiencing and how maybe we can work together towards something resembling resolutions for some of them. Obviously, not all of them. Both of our lives are complicated, but I have knowledge, I have resources, I have insight maybe that I could provide. I don't know. So, I mean,
What I think is happening, it's gonna sound weird, like esoteric, maybe I don't know, like because there's like a connection where because I'm into like natural health and stuff and healing, and then so there's like a place where it connects to the people who talk about like uh Star Seed. You ever heard of that?
No.
Star Seed. The Rainbow Prophecy. Because people who do healing, they also talk about like emotional trauma, but not necessarily. I'm more like into like the physical healing, like the nutrition and the cleansing and
Hmm.
the actual physical body. But then they'll be like, oh yeah, but your stored emotional trauma, and like there's this one chick. She does kind of the stuff that I do with the cleansing, but she also does this thing I've seen where she's got the people lying on their back on a massage table or something, and then she's like pulling like these invisible strings out of the person, and the person's like going through these convulsions and crying and screaming, like these emotional traumas coming out. um but what I'm thinking is some almost something like what they would call like a generational trauma or a generational curse, where like, you know, I don't want to talk about him when he's not here, but like our other brother, who doesn't really talk to his parents, and my sons don't talk to me. It's like
Right.
something. Maybe it was because the way that our dad was raised, with his dad not really being like involved. He was just kind of like there, but he was, like the kids were seen and not heard, and it wasn't really communication, just like authoritative. And then like, so our dad grew up in that house, and then joined the military, and then raised us a certain way, and then like that led me to behave a certain way with my kids. So it's like,
I mean, you could, if you wanted to go far back, our our father's fathers, that would be what our great grandfather was
mm,
was shot on the street
mm-hmm,
when his son was like 12 or something.
mm-hmm,
So he didn't grow up with our grandfather didn't grow up without a father,
mm,
and then he had a family of 11 kids combined with a whole host of other things, right? So his own emotional trauma, his gambling issue, being poor, trying to raise 11 kids. I can't imagine he had anything resembling a relationship with any of his children, right?
right,
And so you got that trauma then passed down to our father, which is like, all right, well he basically didn't grow up without a father, or he basically grew up without a father. That's what I'm
uh,
saying.
uh,
And I feel like a lot of this stuff is ingrained. And while our father did a lot better to address some of the maybe those historic issues, you know, he was also still wasn't there a lot, as he's specifically said himself, and as he's told you, he's told me. Um, and then that got passed down to you. You're the only one of the three of us who has kids, and so then you have kids, and then you also are not you haven't formed a relationship with your own children, as we've seen for the most part, right? I mean, am I wrong in saying that your relationship with your own sons is not there to a large extent?
yeah. It was, and then when
Maybe
they
it,
got divorced, it kind of like just died off.
yeah, I mean, it was in the sense that they were basically infants, but you know, and then they were gone from you. So,
Yeah,
so yeah,
I get this. I think I told you these. See if I can put this over here. These messages from somebody who I thought was a a female like fan,
Hmm.
But then I I started to think or realize, shit, I'm giving her phone number out, that it was kind of like a metaphor or a training. I don't know. She's kind of like showing me what an abandoned child thinks. So
In the sense.
basically, she was relating to me. She was talking to me and saying things that this is what I'm thinking, that my son Zach, in particular Zach, because he was more conscious when we got divorced,
Hmm.
what he was thinking. So like, you know, Zacky's getting bullied by his mom, by our parents, because I mean, maybe you don't agree, but I think the way that they're sarcastic and tease people, it's like bullying.
Hmm.
It's a form of bullying. And then another thing, like she's saying that you know she was waiting for me because if somebody from an objective viewpoint was seeing this, they would say, "No, she's just crazy. That she thinks that you're somebody else." She's saying things like, "I'm too damaged at this point. Why I said the things that you were doing to hurt me need to stop, so I could heal. And since they never stopped, I have to walk away."
Hmm.
So it's like, he um, for so many years was kind of like waiting at the window to see if I would pull up, and I never showed up. And so um, emotionally, he's withdrawn. So it's safer for him to um, not to just not communicate with me anymore, rather than to just be constantly reminded, of
Hmm.
the trauma. So I could definitely understand, why he would feel that way.
I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility that he does not want you in his life. It wouldn't be the first time in history that somebody doesn't want to interact with their parent
Yeah.
for whatever reason, you know?
Hmm.
So I think that sometimes in terms of our father, and I wonder sometimes if other brother thinks this as well, which is like he's toxic. And
Right.
being around him sometimes makes me feel toxic.
Hmm.
And so while I've established a relationship with him, it's very much on my terms to a large extent, so I can maintain it without him affecting me that much. Or that's what I try to do. Like I want to maintain a relationship, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle because sometimes I'm dealing with somebody who has said specifically, I'm not changing, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So uh
Yeah.
again, it's like, all right, so you're in this situation with your son. You're equating it to this woman. Maybe you're looking at it like almost like it's a similar situation, right? She's telling you these things, and you're saying, oh, maybe my son, even though he never explicitly said it,
Yeah.
maybe he would say the same things to me. That you're finding some truth maybe in what she's saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's alienated child syndrome, or abandoned child and
Hmm.
alienated parent situation.
Do you think do you see a path towards repairing your relationship with your son, or what that might even look like?
Well, I don't think so. I think he he's gonna go to he's gonna go to Arizona for school,
Hmm.
and then apparently I learned from his other grandma that he wants to live out there.
Okay.
So I told him, I'm gonna try to make my business mobile so I can move out to Arizona.
Hmm.
And then he told his mom, and then she texted me and said, "I can't believe you told him." Um, she said, "Zachary, he told me today that you plan on moving to Arizona. Please don't. First, he's going to college. He's not there to be with his parents. He's there to focus and prepare for his future. Parents are not supposed to follow their children to college. He cannot believe you told him this." Secondly, when Zach told us this, Max said, "Favorite son, you will have 2 years left with Max. You do this, you will hurt both of our boys."
Hmm.
Well, I mean, she's butting her nose in my business because she's she's got them full time, and whether whatever my opinion is of her, you know, she's the one who raised them, and but that being said, they're of a certain age now, and she has no input in my in the way I deal with them. But it's just more evidence that like when a when a child is abandoned by one parent, they latch on to the other parent like for their it's like their life depends on it. So that he told her that, it's just it's evidence that the situation is like I'm an outsider. EduStar English Center, hello. Jim, didn't mean to ignore your comment there. Take massive action with your physiology. Step one. That's always the seems like the always the step one for personal growth and transformation is like get in the gym or change your menu. You know, get your body right. I agree with that. The body comes first. We can't even think if we don't have a body to hold the brain. So I do believe it's body, mind, spirit, not mind, body, spirit, like some people think. You can you can't really think your way out of depression or some condition. Anyway, it's very and I hate to keep going over it, Zach, because it's just like rumination, but it's just the one thing that I think about more than anything, which is that um, like the person that I didn't like and that I wanted to get away from, apparently, or I was fighting with, which was Laura. Now I have two of them because they were with her for so many years and they adopted her behaviors. So it's like when I'm talking to them,
Hmm.
all the acid tongue, sarcasm um, is I can't avoid it now if I want to have a relationship with them. So it's like, oh yeah, I asked them a question, just try to start a conversation. Oh, that's a stupid question.
Hmm.
That's so stupid. Why would you? Why would you? Why would you think that? You're an idiot.
Hmm.
You know. So I mean, I guess it's my own fault. But anyway, do I see a path forward? I what I thought was that I would just become somebody that they would want to hang out with by you know moving forward with my business, my brand, and basically creating a brand which was a a traveling traveling event, traveling party, something cool like that they want to be involved in, not because it's me, but just because it's cool. With the League of Champions and traveling around, hosting events based around, you know, martial arts and music and food. I was like, become a celebrity, and wherever I go, there's a party. Then they'd want to hang out with me.
Well,
But it just seems like they're just trying to get away from me instead.
I think that you're right and maybe you're wrong. You're right in that the idea of building yourself into someone that they want to be with, absolutely. But what that looks like might not be what you've envisioned.
Mm-hmm.
And because you don't really know where your life is going to take you. You have this vision in your head. Well, if I just do all of this stuff, and that's a monumental task, what you've laid out to not only have a business, but one that can travel across the country that people like and will pay for
Mm-hmm.
and have it successful enough that it can support you is
Mm-hmm.
something that takes people years to accomplish if they accomplish that. That's not even saying accomplishing that locally in their own community, which is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd have to build an audience, a large enough audience, and one that could span the whole country.
Yeah.
Um, and while I think you could, like, I look at the things that you are doing, and I'm like, well, one of those things could theoretically be a business that could be lucrative, like selling your food, for example. That could definitely be a lucrative business. You
Mm-hmm.
could develop a training program for children to teach them martial arts without getting hurt, which I look at that and I'm like, that's an absolutely brilliant idea because I don't know if you follow the news or follow popular culture, but these days, the whole idea of brain injury is actually very much in the forefront of people's minds, especially parents, to the point where they're actually not letting their kids play football anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So like teaching them self-defense while keeping them safe and being like, we don't do head contact. Your kid is safe. That's an unbelievably great idea. You could build it with this guy, build it out there. You could train old people. The elderly population is getting enormous. I don't know if you follow population demographics, but
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of developed countries, even in the US, you have the elderly population is growing and they're going to become and are becoming a very large market. In particular, because they have money. Old people tend to have money. Um, but I'm laying out these things. And I'm like, well, one of those things is your whole life if you were to dedicate yourself towards it. Um, and there's a million things that I would love to do with my life that I think about, but right now I have a job, and that's essentially most of my life. So I've dedicated myself towards that for the sake of keeping myself, uh,
Housed.
you know, yeah, giving myself the ability to live. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if, for the sake of getting yourself into a position where you could be successful, first of all, maybe lowering your expectations of what success means. So success might not mean this vision of yourself as a um, nationwide phenomenon, and instead like, all right, well, I'm just providing for myself here, and I've got my own apartment, and I'm making enough money to survive. I don't know what you think of that without trying to diminish your vision for your future, because I don't want to do that. I think you could do a lot of these things, but just speaking from personal experience, there's a lot of stuff I could be doing, but that I'm not. I could be live streaming all the time. I could be an independent filmmaker. I could be, you know, a voice in the carnivore community if I started making content. But
Nice.
all of that takes time and energy, and I haven't put anything in that because I'm working all the time to a large extent. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, it seems that just if if it means anything, it seems that the most popular thing I do is the training, just based on
right.
like the views I get. Um, so, there's like a million health food people out there,
Mm-hmm.
but there's nobody with the system that I have for martial arts training, especially nobody who actually has, you know, a legitimate background. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn saying like, oh
No,
yeah, I was
you're
champion.
a former
Yeah,
you're a former UFC fighter. Like that is a credential.
yeah, credential.
That gives you some cred, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did that idea. Like, all right, so you want to teach people martial arts without getting them hurt. Maybe specifically children, maybe not. Maybe it could be, it could of course correspond to people of any age.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so maybe that is a path forward. Maybe it's focusing on that and then building something from that, building your brand around that, around the fitness aspect. And again, you can incorporate some of the like nutritional stuff in there too. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that was my original plan, was to do League of Champions and then kind of like on my way out maybe, or when it gets popular, kind of spin off this nutritional brand or whatever.
Well, you just said when it gets popular.
Yeah.
There is no when.
Mm-hmm.
There's if it gets popular. You have no
Right.
idea. You might you might not get anywhere with it. How many small business owners fail?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them.
Right. Right.
Most small business owners fail. Most people fail at their dreams. It's a rare person who actually succeeds in any kind of creative endeavor and actually makes money off of it. It's extraordinarily rare. And so you're fighting against statistics. You could theoretically build something over a long enough period of time, sure, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be successful in the
Right.
way that you've envisioned.
Right. Right. I
So
got you.
that's what that when I say maybe adjusting what success means, what success looks like to you, it might not mean doing this countrywide tour. It might mean something completely different. It might mean like, all right, well, I'm doing it locally. I'm doing it in my community. I'm doing it at the gym that your friend started, and you have like a sizable client base, and you're actually making money.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that at least in the immediate future means success. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I fully support you like going to Maine, for example, but I also support maybe putting down roots and staying in one location and I don't know, trying to establish something. It would be certainly a lot easier to do it in one location than it would be roaming around the country. You have to keep in mind like companies that can sell across the country are the ones that already have a very established bases. Like you can imagine somebody selling food at a farmer's market,
Mm-hmm.
and then they escalate to a food truck, and then from a food truck they escalate to like maybe a small household operation and maybe a small factory, right? And at that point they're making enough. And you can look at this in the context of like maybe small breweries, because there's like a whole bunch of small breweries around the New York area, right? They make small batches and they're delivering it locally to their local community, within trucking distance of the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not nationwide yet. Actually, why that's one of the selling points for these breweries, because it's like, oh, I gotta travel to New York to get one of these, because they don't sell it in California, they don't sell it in Oregon,
Oh
But you get to a big enough point where you're like, all right, well, now we're making some good money. Oh, this got popular. Maybe we expand to the next state over or something like that. But again, it's like that stuff takes a lot of time and a lot of stuff, a lot of dedication, a lot of work, sometimes luck, a lot of luck, you
Yeah,
know.
that's what I was
So
hoping to do with the touring is
mhm.
get lucky and go viral.
All right, so that actually I'd like to chat with you about. So
Hmm.
that's not the first time you've said that to me.
Yeah.
What is it about going viral that is so attractive to you?
Um, Going viral, it means that, like for example, Mark Zuckerberg trains Brazilian Jiu Jitsu now,
Hmm.
or he trains MMA now. If I could somehow get in his line of sight and he sees the value of doing MMA with Master Luki, it could be like putting a key into an ignition. Like there's this car, there's like this $1 billion car that I want to drive, and then he's got the key. But it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be Mark Zuckerberg. But he's got Meta, he's got all these technology with the. It could be anybody with money. But the idea about going viral is just me getting in the line of sight of the most people possible, so that
So,
get an angel investor or somebody who could boost me up. So instead of building like what you're saying, which could take 10 years, which I'm already 10 years deep.
well, so this is my argument here is that what is actually the best path towards going viral?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm asking, is that a
Uh,
question? Like in your mind, what is the best way to actually go viral?
what I was thinking is to create a vlogumentary where I'm going from place to place to meet and work with, and when I say work with, I'm basically mean fighting or sparring under these modified rules. People who have a a social community. So like, just look at, and this is gonna sound crazy, but if you look at Jake Paul, I know Jake Paul, he's most likely put on by handlers. Like his viral growth wasn't organic. I don't think.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe in the beginning to get initial groundswell, but I think he has people pulling the strings, and he's pushing an agenda for whatever reason. But he has become 5 years the biggest money making name in a sport that's 100 years old. Whereas you have Mike Tyson, who's a brand in and of himself. He's like the Michael, even though he's not as accomplished as Michael Jordan. Like he's not. His later career was kind of mediocre, but he's got a name. So Jake Paul, by working with Mike Tyson, it helps the both of them, and they
Mhm.
both get more viral. So that was my concept was, I go to, just use Maine as an example. Go to Maine, and I connect with somebody who has a gym there or an ex-fighter. There's one that's like kind of close to where I'm going, and I, we work together to create this event where we're going to be fighting each other, and then everybody who's watching, the other day I could tell them, the other day I had 18,000 viewers on my just watching me work out. Could potentially have thousands of people watching and voting, and he gets to push his stuff, whatever he's selling, or whatever he's offering. And then even if I get my butt kicked, it's still points for Master Luki brand in general, and awareness. And if I could, if I can, if big if, um, be making money on YouTube, like, I don't know what's the low end that people make. I could survive on like, I've survived on like $300 a month, but to travel I would need a little more. But because I'm getting more um, exposure, for example, I got this email the other day. Where is it? It's on my phone here. Sorry, 2 seconds. Anyway, it was an invitation from a company that wants me to make a video reviewing their product.
Hmm.
So maybe I could be getting sponsored by these by companies to pay my travel, or you know oh, here we go, Junko Pie. I'm from Eaton Wolf. I've been watching your YouTube content for quite some time. Your videos are always so engaging and insightful. I think your audience would love our product. We'd be thrilled if you could review our P200 ball pump. Blah 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 blah. If you're interested, we'd love to see it featured in a dedicated review on your YouTube channel. Looking forward to your response. I don't know, it's just it was a couple days ago, but there's a saying: what one man can do, another can do. I feel like this is gonna sound weird again, but I feel like this is something that's come through me. It's my responsibility to try, not just to let this dream die. Because did I make this up in my head, or is our consciousness from beyond our body, that this dream, this idea was basically given to me, to fulfill. Like people's lives are on the line, basically.
Well,
You
so going back to the idea of virality,
hmm
I don't think it's something you can control.
Uh-huh.
And I think the best path to obtain virality is actually what you laid out, which is building your brand to the point where you might get noticed by somebody who theoretically could make you go viral,
hmm
right? So if you did something like the vlogumentary, right? You went to gyms across the country, right? You recorded everything.
Yeah.
You did live streams.
Yep.
You took those live streams and you cut them into shorter videos. And then you took those shorter videos, you cut them into clips, and you were posting daily or posting weekly, right?
hmm
And then at the end of that, you took all that stuff and you made a documentary about yourself traveling across the country, right? So you're a content creator, and over time you're building an audience. But that whole process from start to finish, how long would that take? What, 3 years for a documentary? You know, this it's it would in the process of trying to obtain some sort of viral outbreak,
hmm
what you're doing is you're not seeking that. That's not the end goal. The end goal is actually just building yourself and your brand to the point where maybe, and there's no guarantee that this will happen, maybe somebody will notice you, and maybe because they like your stuff, they'll want to incorporate you, right? So maybe Mark Zuckerberg will see it and he'll be like, "Oh my God, like this dude is super cool that he wants to teach martial arts and be safe. Maybe I could do an interview with him," right? And then all of a sudden, like you're on a podcast with him and your stuff goes viral. Although that's not really virality. That's just like, you're talking to somebody who has a much bigger audience than you. and so you're getting their audience.
Yeah,
But
I was even thinking of actually fighting with him.
or that, right? It's like, all right, so maybe, yeah, maybe something like that happens. But again, you're putting in all of the work, and that's actually the goal.
Their
And the
audience.
journey is the goal, right? You're taking this journey for yourself to achieve the best version of yourself possible and the best version of your brand possible. And if along the way something happens that kind of skyrockets you to the success you're seeking, then that's great. It's probably unlikely that that's going to happen though. And of course, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So that shouldn't be the goal. The goal is not the virality. The goal is not seeking that thing. The goal is building yourself and your brand. But the thing is, like, how do you do that? Well, you got to put in the work.
Right.
Like you tell me like, oh, I've been at this 10 years. I'll be real with you, man. I have not seen you do anything to build your brand. Not really. Like I see you do live streams, sure, but I don't see you putting in the work in the background. Like putting out these videos, doing some video editing, right? Doing the shorts, um, networking with people, right? Spending the time and the energy and the resources and all that stuff. You see these people building their, I see all these people on YouTube building their brand, and they're like, that's their whole life is just dedicated to that. They're just putting it in and hustling, and they work a job, right? A job maybe they don't like, but they're doing that part time or even full time. And then they're working on that brand on the side. But I don't see you doing that. Am I wrong?
Um, I think no. I, I think what it is maybe a mismanagement of, not that I haven't been putting in the effort, but I would say that because I tried to do everything myself, I could have worked with people probably who would have made things happen faster. But I definitely, every time I went to the gym, which was almost every day, I was working on developing the the back end of the League of Champions. So the scoring system that I spent, my last penny on to get this minimum viable product, and the ranking system with the mythical beasts. Um, yeah, I've played some video games. I've spent some nights with women. So the hustle thing that's accurate. That
What I'm saying is like, all right, you've done all that stuff, but where is the work to show for it? Where are the videos where you like took that footage that you live streamed and edited it down? Where are the videos where you like attempted to get some good lighting and maybe some good sound stuff and like maybe did a recording of you doing something? You're showing yourself performing some exercises. You're explaining your scoring system, right?
yep.
And the quality is higher than say maybe just a standard live stream because you're actually dedicating some time to like setting everything up and recording it and editing it and then getting all that down. And so you've put in a week or 2 weeks worth of work, and then you have this 15-minute video at the end of it. And then you post that online, and it's like, wow, this is like something super good quality. And maybe you get some views from it, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't seen that from you. I haven't seen that work go into your brand. I see you doing stuff like live streaming, which is great. That could be content, but it needs to be like funneled. It needs to be edited it down. And it needs to be condensed into a format that's a little bit more digestible because nobody's going to sit and watch you for 4 or 5 hours on live stream
Right.
doing nothing but sitting and talking like we're doing now, right? But
Okay.
maybe we took this live stream and we cut it down into like a 3-minute video, maybe some of the
Mm-hmm.
core things we discussed, and maybe that's like, oh, maybe that gets 5,000 views on YouTube or 10,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the argument I'm making is that while the ideas are great and while the drive might be there, I don't see the work going into it. And maybe if you want to look at it like that, where we were just talking about like how you would achieve virality,
Mm-hmm.
which is building your brand, but in maybe a smarter way. And the smarter way being like putting in dedicated time and energy and work into putting out content that is you know, quality.
Hmm. Okay.
Is that, I mean, does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
You came back before and you were like, oh, like, well, I have been doing this, I have been doing that.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of content that could be edited, and to these. I think there's like three different types of edited videos. There's a 10 minute, there's a 3 minute, and then there's a 1 minute.
There's no specific format or structure. I watch videos that are any length. I listen to podcasts that are 2.5 hours long. I listen to them over the course of 5 days. Sometimes I listen to videos that are 3 minutes long or 15 minutes long.
Hmm.
I don't think there's any specific format on how you have to do it. I think the only point is making sure that you're expressing something, you're expressing an idea, you're putting it in a format that you think people would like, right? And then you're putting it out there. Um,
Hmm.
so what would that look like if you were really doing that? If you were really putting in the work and hustling, what would your videos look like? Would they look like what they look like now? Or would they look like something different?
Well, yeah. So, with the purpose of going viral, um, and making this vlogumentary, um, they would definitely be looking different because I had this focus on the actual vlogumentary. So
Hmm.
instead of, um, let's see, so instead of, just like vlogging a normal day, I'm vlogging a day where I'm working towards this, building this event where I'm gonna meet somebody at a gym and fight them or whatever.
Hmm.
So it would still be doing the live stream, but then the content of the live stream would be different because it's like part of a tour,
Right.
and is like I think it's timing too because some of these streamers that have thousands of Twitch viewers at any one point, I think they got in at a certain time when the market wasn't as saturated. But that being said, they still do have thousands of viewers just watching them. Like I was watching this guy the other day. He's just walking in the streets of another country and it's like getting something to drink and talking to somebody. And it's like he's got literally thousands of people watching him. Like the other day, I did get 18,000 views, but the most I had at any one time was about 200 people watching.
Well, those people are building off of a whole lot of dedicated work they put in beforehand, and they're going on momentum. That's why that dude can walk around, getting a coffee and getting thousands of views because he put in like they were streaming basically probably I would estimate every single day,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
They're streaming 6, 8 hours a day and consistently every day for years.
Hmm.
The most successful streamers I watch, and I watch this one guy at any given time, he has 5,000 people watching, and he plays video games. He is meticulous with his schedule. He's on in the mornings.
Hmm.
He leaves to go hang out with his family and eat dinner and stuff, and then he comes back on in the evenings. And he does that every single day and never takes a break,
Hmm.
you know? And I'm sure at the early part of his career, he wasn't as successful, but he built it over time. And now he's reaping the rewards of that.
Hmm.
But can you say the same for yourself? Have you been that consistent with your streaming?
Nah,
Right.
yeah, I gotta. Think I
This
gotta.
is this is this is I mean, this is essentially what I was saying in regards to the work. It's like the the work needs to be put in order to achieve the results. And the only way to achieve some sort of viral status is through the work. And honestly, I would even say that going viral is not even something to strive for, because that
Mm.
might actually be bad. Like, hypothetically, if you got too big too fast, I've seen this happen to people. They got too big too fast.
Mm.
You you want to build yourself up over time, build an audience that really likes your stuff.
Mm.
It's more sustainable.
Right.
Virality could disappear the next day, you know, if you don't have something, if you don't have a sound structure underneath it, if you're like that hawk to a girl,
Okay.
then like what do you have after that? What do you have after the initial buzz goes down? You're probably back to where you were.
Right. But I'm not necessarily trying to go viral like you were saying. I'm trying to just get the right people to see.
Yeah, and you get the right people to see by building your brand,
Okay.
building it up and hoping that at some point they come across your stuff and that they like it. And that they like it enough to want to speak to you. And that they like it enough to want to speak to you and put put you on their whatever they're doing, their podcast, their content. And like all four of those things, the odds of them happening get increasingly smaller as you go up that chain,
Mm.
you know. Someone might see your stuff and be like, "Oh, that's cool," and then completely dismiss you, because there's just so much stuff out there. So you're hoping that people like your stuff, but you're really only going to accomplish that is by putting in the work and building the brand. But it's actually the journey of doing that which will bring you the success and the meaning, I think.
Hmm.
So I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think would you take a different path other than that? Is there a different path for you that is not put it like dedicating your whole life towards this goal and taking time and editing videos and putting up shorts and you know taking your live streams, doing all this stuff? Is there a different path that you see aside from doing that where maybe you wouldn't have to put in the work?
No, I'm definitely gonna put the work in.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't see a different path for me that doesn't end in uh, badly. Like for me, I guess to bring it around full circle, for me
Hmm.
to basically abandon my family for to 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 stay a starving artist because I felt that the purity of the mission would would have been affected, and made to be less valuable by getting a job.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I've been working the whole time. I just haven't really been making money. But if I was to admit defeat, so to speak, and not try try or die, like 50 Cent said, get rich or die trying. If I don't commit to the point where there's no plan B, and I admit that, oh yeah, it's a good try. Sorry I ruined your life, Zach and Max. Sorry. I just let you grow up without me. Whatever. Maybe it was better off that they did because I You know, I would have messed up them even worse by being there.
Hmm.
Um, so whether that's true or not, for me to just say, "Oh yeah, sorry guys, you know, my mistake," um, that I couldn't accept that. Like um, if I don't see this through to the end, whatever that end is, then I couldn't admit that it was all for naught. You know, I would have to commit ritual suicide as like a samurai if I did that.
I don't think you need to commit ritual suicide. I also think maybe you're putting yourself in a situation where if this thing doesn't happen, then your life is meaningless, which I don't know if that's the appropriate way to look at it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's
Like
basically how I feel.
yeah, no, I totally get like that's how you feel, and I've seen that from you. I remember you saying like I would rather die than give up my mission. And there are people who have a dream similar to yours. I see artists in New York who come here to be an actor, and how many of them end up being a famous actor? Probably not many, realistically. And they have to give up their dream because they failed. But failure doesn't have to mean the end of life. It just means you have to point yourself in a different direction where it's like, okay, well, maybe what I was striving towards was not actually the correct path, despite the fact that that's what I was telling myself for all these years. And I think the first time we talked, you were like, I remember you saying like, I've been at this for 10 years. And then I came to the realization that I haven't gotten anywhere with it. Right? I think I remember you saying that like the first time we talked.
Definitely
Um,
has been a not definitely as far as a business goes, it's still in the red for sure.
right. Yeah. Um, I guess what I'm saying is that tying yourself to that vision and having it the only possible outcome might actually be limiting you to achieving your vision, but you'd have to reconfigure your vision. You'd have to be like, all right, well, what I originally thought of how I would end up is actually not possible, and so now I'm going to strive for something else. And again, in the context of your kids and what they might need from you as a father, I don't think they would need you to be this massive worldwide success that you envisioned. What they might need is just for you to be successful enough to support yourself and then have the ability to spend time and form a relationship with them. And so that might not require you to go on this massive countrywide tour. That might not require you to go viral. That might just require you to, make enough money for yourself. But again, I see where you're coming from because it's like, well, if I don't do this thing, then I might as well die because this is my
It's too
this is my
shameful.
life.
Too
It's too
shameful what I
shameful.
did. Yeah, that's why I
And you,
brought it up
yeah,
as a ritual
yeah.
suicide. It's like I've dishonored my family, and I think of people who have had their lives ruined, you know,
Mhm.
and it's like I'd be letting them down too, and their families, guys who are brain dead from boxing and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it's too much of a
It's
golden
too
goose with a golden egg or something. I don't know.
it's too hard to let go of.
Well, yeah, there's a sunk cost fallacy is one
Hmm.
thing. Um, but I don't know. It probably sounds weird, but just like what I was saying before about, I feel like it's it's a spiritual mission that was given to me.
Hmm.
It's not just my own family, but it's my responsibility to other people, to other families, and just humanity as a whole. To it's like uh, I have a design for a seatbelt that's gonna save more lives per year.
Hmm.
And maybe it's like what you're saying. Maybe I could still make the seatbelt, but it's just a different or
Well,
more. We gotta do more. Go,
you
put
you
more work into it.
you could, I mean, if we're talking about like, oh, you feel if you don't achieve your vision in the exact way that you've laid it out, then you're somehow letting down everybody, your family, the people who have been hurt, who have had, traumatic head injury. But like I was saying, it's like, all right, well, maybe reconfigure what you think of as your ultimate end goal, and maybe it looks something like you become an advocate for safer sports, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe just safer mixed martial arts, but it could extend to other things. Or maybe you become an advocate for avoiding head trauma, and that might extend like beyond sports and beyond MMA. And then you could be like, well, I've designed this cool, like designed this thing. Maybe you could design a seatbelt, and maybe you can get it patented,
Right.
and then maybe you could try and sell it. You could try and sell the patent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, the likelihood that any one of these things would succeed are slim, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, you could always try. And putting in the work towards something and seeing the end result, seeing that patent in your hand, I created this thing,
Mm-hmm.
might be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and along the way, you've become this advocate for avoiding head trauma, and maybe you've made a name for yourself in that space, along with other people who are trying to do the same thing. And I know there are people out there who are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I told you, Rose Gracie hit me up.
Hmm.
I hit her up and then she hit me back. But yeah, I think she could be helpful. Although everybody's got their own kind of idea of what the best way to move forward with it is.
Right.
So
And everybody's got their own stuff going on. So while you should leave yourself open to collaboration with other people for various things,
mm-hmm.
um, remember that people may not also want to help you. They may not want to directly help you. They may just be like, "Oh, I like your stuff, and I'll support you in any way that I can, but we're not going to do anything with it."
Mm,
You know, everybody's got their own lives. Everybody's got their own stuff going on. So,
true.
so, relying on yourself is actually, at least initially, relying on yourself, and then branching out, and then seeing if other people are willing to help you.
Yeah.
But you have to be the core of yourself and your business. Building yourself and your business should be the ultimate end goal, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is one of the things that attracted me about this whole like touring thing was that it's kind of like the smallest amount of It's like this the most consolidated business model. Like
Hmm.
all I would need is to be able to get from one place to another with a suitcase.
Right.
Wouldn't need a brick and mortar or um, you know, video editing team, which could. I mean, I could. You're saying get more better videos if I could get the initial kind of groundswell. Maybe I could hire somebody or somebody you know who's maybe even AI could just.
There's ways. I mean, you could start doing it yourself, edit your own videos to start, and then maybe you can pay somebody cheaply in India to edit your videos, right? You know, I've seen businesses that were built because one person in the United States had an idea, and then they hired a bunch of programmers in India for dirt cheap, and then built out their whole platform from that. You know, and yeah, AI tools certainly could help you. One of the ways AI tools can help you is like uh, images and video as like filler in between scenes. You know, you ever watch a video and there you have somebody talking and it's a scene of like a nice beach with the waves rolling in or something because they're talking about philosophy or health or something.
Mm,
You know, they get those videos, stock videos and stock images,
mm,
which are going to be way easier to create with AI these days, I think.
mm,
So in that regard, like your job is much easier. You don't have to like pay for a subscription to some stock video site. You could generate the video using like ChatGPT's tool or something.
right. Your
Um,
background looks AI.
it is. This
Oh,
is I mean it's one of Google's built-in things. This was probably specifically created. I doubt this was AI generated, but
oh.
uh, you know, Google's engineers probably threw it together with some easy tools. You know, let's put together a background. It looks like a cabin. You know,
Definitely.
so
Apropos to today's weather.
yes, it's been bitter cold, very cold. Um, but you know, all this stuff maybe it doesn't mean anything if you're not healthy. So going
Right.
back to what we were saying the last time we met,
Mm,
how's your sleep?
yeah. Oh my God.
3 hours sleep, right? Sleep is important. Nutrition's important. You know that already. Um,
This guy says massive. What do you say? Massive action with your physiology. Step one.
yeah, I don't know what he means by massive action, but actually, focus. There we go. Um, yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah, I would agree with that. I've certainly taken drastic steps in terms of my personal health. I'm probably on one of the most extreme diets on the planet right now. Uh, so I would agree with that. I think a lot about people who are morbidly obese, who have metabolic syndrome and all the downstream effects of that, and how they could be resolving a lot of their health issues if they got their diet in order. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
me as one person is not going to do much talking to you in this meeting, but maybe if I made some videos, posted online, and I was like, oh hey, you know, let me talk a little bit about my own health journey and the kind of foods that I eat, and maybe that becomes inspiration for somebody.
Definitely. Or do it on Twitch, and then you could take the live footage and edit it
Yeah,
down.
yeah, like if I'm actually gonna make some beef tallow probably sometime this weekend, which is a fairly involved process.
Oh
And
really?
so
Cool.
just doing that is multi steps and you know, laying all that out in an easy to digest format, I think would be a cool video. I've been thinking about doing it. I just, you know, finding the time is difficult.
All right. Well,
So I'm in the same boat as you. It's like, all right, yeah, finding the time.
if I could offer just a little bit of advice, for lack of a better word, if you did do a live stream, then you don't have to worry about anything except the camera angle, and then you could edit it post production.
Well, in my mind, uh I'm thinking of doing this like I have lighting and I have the cameras and actually structuring the shots in the way that I want. So it wouldn't necessarily just be a live stream, although I could also do that simultaneously.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not saying just do a live stream. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's almost like you get a two for one because you get the
Hmm.
live stream, but then you edit that footage into your
Yeah.
shorter
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
with like a screen recorder, or you could do OBS. You could do like a recording as well as a streaming at the same time.
Hmm. Yeah, multiple. Yeah, have the live stream going, have some separate cameras where I get like maybe close-up shots of what I'm doing, maybe an overhead camera of the kitchen counter where I can show what I'm,
Look up
off
Carnivore
doing.
Gamer. If that's a
Carnivore.
if that's a name, you gotta grab that. If it's not a name,
That's actually not a bad idea. There's Carnivore Games. There's I guess it's a pen and paper kind of gaming shop.
Retro Carnivore Gamer.
There's a video game series called Carnivores. They're
Okay.
hunting simulations.
Are you meat based? I mean, meat based or carnivore?
I
Animal
guess
based.
I guess technically I'm doing animal based. So what have I been eating recently? I've been eating ground beef, eggs, um,
Animal gaming.
liver, liver steak. Oh, a pomegranate. I've been eating pomegranate
Oh
seeds.
my god, so good.
I have to limit myself because I'll de-seed a pomegranate, I'll put it in a bowl, and I'll start eating some spoonfuls of it, and
Right.
I'll be like, I could eat this whole thing right now, so I have to stop. I have to like
Um, why though?
cut myself off.
What would
I
happen if
don't
you ate the whole thing?
I just don't want to eat that much. I mean, they're sweet. There is a certain amount of sugar involved with that, so I don't want to eat that much. So I spread it out. I'll have like a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the
Oh,
evenings.
okay. I
Uh,
mean, it comes in a serving size though, unless that's unless God intended that to be split up between several people, and then
uh,
also they
Probably.
engineer them through selective breeding to be ginormous, but
Right.
they used to be.
I found out a cool way to de-seed them. I don't know if you knew this. I watched a video on it. So you cut the top off and
Right.
you just cut a slice around the rim and then you kind of peel it away, right? So you actually
Yep.
don't end up breaking any of the seeds. And then it shows you where the lines are, right? And I think
Yep.
you've showed me that too, right? So, and then you break it apart and you turn it upside down. So it's still held together by the bottom part, but it's spread apart.
Okay.
And I think this works better if it's at room temperature. I think it's harder if they're cold, but
Hmm.
and then you kind of just slap them with a wooden spoon
Hmm.
and the seeds just fall out.
Really?
Yeah. Probably not all of them, but enough of them that.
Hmm.
So yeah, try that. You open it up. It kind of opens like a little flower, like this, and then you like slap the back with a wood spoon, and they all start to just fall out. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube of people doing it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. I like to keep my pomegranates cold though, so I keep them in the fridge.
That's a fetish. The guy, it's called a pomegranate fetish. These guys, they like to get slapped until their seeds come out.
Right. Yeah, you can start your own like fruit, BDSM fruit channel where it's just hitting
Slap me
fruit.
until my seed comes out.
Oh God. Yeah, that's gonna be your moneymaker, the use of the word seed in basically everything you do. Like, do you want some seed?
And
That's filthy.
then
Oh my God.
the OnlyFans, the dino seeds, just
Hmm.
wear a dino mask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, that could be it. Um,
Dino porn. I think that's actually a thing already.
oh yeah, 100%. I was watching a video on this um gaming network, which is actually bigger than Steam. They make adult games. And they're actually owned, I think, by the same company that owns like Pornhub and some of the other like porn related websites. But they make adult video games and they're essentially the biggest like gaming platform in the whole world. Um,
What?
and this woman was talking about how she did some investigative journalism on it. and she kept making these quips about like, and then I came across this thing, and I don't know what this is, and it was like a picture of, like a dinosaur with like a ripped chest, and like the part below their crotch was blurred out. Um, there's 100% like dinosaur porn out there,
It
in
definitely is.
in
I'm looking
in
at
the
it right
same way
now.
that there's like furry porn. The convention I'm going to in 2.5 weeks is always furries there,
Okay.
like very elaborate costumes. Like they're enormous. They're wearing what essentially are the equivalent of stilts. They're like these big feet
Oh yeah, yeah.
that you step into, and then they have these full fur costumes on.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine what it's like in there. They are they look unbelievably hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't even imagine what it's like. But
Sheesh.
it's the thing, man. I've heard about parties going on too during the convention, but I've never confirmed.
What, furry party?
Yeah, everybody they're in their costumes and they're all having sex with each other or something.
Oh, okay. Orgies.
Yeah, something like that.
Sheesh.
Something like that.
Magfest. So that's next week or the week after?
22nd I'm heading down. So
And
a
then,
week, 2 weeks.
and when are you going to Florida?
That when I get back, um, the 30th, Dad and I are driving down.
Okay, so Magfest first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it all being done, all said and done. As much as I want to go to both of those things, it's like it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of travel. So, I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to the rest of February and into March, where my schedule is a little bit more lax and I can focus on some other stuff. So, maybe I
Nice.
can finally film that video.
Do it.
Yeah. Um, cool. So, I think I'm gonna call it for
Yes,
today.
thank you. Thanks a lot, Saki.
Yeah, no problem, man. Are you still going down to Maine? Are you still planning on doing that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Bronx first for a few days, and then I
Hmm.
should be in Maine by the end of the week.
Oh, no shit. So the end of this coming week.
Yeah,
All right. Let me know
so it should be fun.
if you end up there and if you have a good signal, we can I don't know if you want to schedule this for next Saturday again.
Yo, definitely, definitely.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
regardless
can
of where I'm at, I'm down.
yeah, we can do that. Um and if anything changes, just let me know.
All right, you got it.
We can thanks, Rose. Thanks, Rose.
Yes, sir. Love
All
you,
right,
man.
man. Love you too. You have a good day.
You
I'll
too.
probably chat with you during the week at some point. Um, and I'll see you next weekend. And then we'll hang when I get back. I'm hoping that they do another one of the 80s nights at the Cradle of Aviation.
Oh, nice.
We have to practice our song.
Yeah. Wait, which one?
Do you remember? It was After the Rain by Nelson.
Oh, okay. We're gonna dress like Nelson. Nice.
Well, we'll dress in some generic 80s stuff, right? So I'm thinking like tight pants, which we could probably get cheap. We can get some cheap leggings. I'm sure they have like 80s leggings for men that you can buy online. Maybe like a cheap leather jacket
Jag
or like a tank
jeggings.
top. What's up?
Jeggings, jean leggings.
Jeggings, yeah, or leather or some cheap leather pants. Maybe we can
Hmm.
get from a thrift store.
Hmm.
Uh, and some shitty uh long wigs
Right.
and headbands and maybe some
Oh yeah.
sunglasses. Some fake guitars, some blow up guitars. Something ridiculous like that. I'm actually going to an 80s ski weekend in the end of March, so
Oh,
if we end up doing it at some point during the March, maybe that'll be a good preparation.
sweet.
So we'll talk about it when I get back.
You got it, brother.
All right, man.